Welcome back, everybody. Today we're taking a look at a roller delayed pistol caliber carbine. Well, not this one right here. I grabbed the wrong one. What I meant to show you was this one right here. This is the brand new Springfield Armory Kuna 9mm roller delayed pistol caliber carbine. We're going to take a look at it in this WV Guns and Goats video. I'm going to show you everything that comes in the box with it, all the guns features, and then we're going to shoot it out here on the range with different types of ammo, full metal jacket, and hollow point defensive ammo. I saw a lot of people wondering, could you use this with hollow point ammo? We're going to find out today if you can, and we're also going to be shooting it unsuppressed with the little muzzle brake it has on here, and suppressed, and we're going to see how it sounds compared to the king of 9mm PCCs, that MP5 you just saw. Now, if you have not become a herd member yet here at WV Guns and Goats, how about you go ahead and headbutt that subscribe button. Now, before we get started, I wasn't lucky enough to be one of those creators who got sent one of these guns before the release. I'm sure your video feed has been all kinds of videos about this gun the other day when it released, but we purchased ours through Palmetto State Armory, and they have a pretty good price on these guns, and it looked like it'd be a pretty good addition to my collection. But what do you get when you buy the Kuna? Well, you get a cardboard box with a cutout area for the gun and just 2 pieces of foam in there to keep it from moving around. Of course, you get the mandated child safety lock, but you also get a manual and 2 of these translucent 30-round magazines. So that's everything that comes with the Kuna 9mm. Let's look at its features. So the very first thing you'll notice when you pick up the Kuna is just how lightweight this gun is. Without the brace, it comes in at 4.5 pounds. With the brace, it comes in at 5.5 pounds. Now, just to let you know, it does come with a Strike Industries brace from the factory, but I already had one lying around. The one it comes with is only a left side folder, I believe. This is the dual side folder that I already had. Now, how do they make this gun so light? Well, you have an aluminum extrusion upper receiver and a polymer lower receiver here. But it also comes down to what's inside this gun. This is not just a direct blowback PCC with a big heavy bolt in it. This has a roller delayed bolt in it. Now, it's not like the MP5 roller delay system. It's actually similar to the Strybog SP9A3. However, it's similar in the way that the SIG 550 is similar to the AK. However, no parts interchange between those guns and no parts interchange between this and the Strybog. In fact, the only part on this gun that interchanges with other guns, besides the Picatinny brace and anything you can put on the back plate there, is the pistol grip here. It is an AR-15 style pistol grip. However, it feels really nice. It's nice and thin. It's not super wide, and it's got a nice stippling to it to give you grip. Speaking of stippling, all the controls and the front of the magwell are stippled as well, and the sides of the magwell too are stippled there for grip. And then inside of this is a proprietary trigger group with a flat trigger here. Now, this trigger is just slightly spongy, but it's perfectly usable for a PCC. We're not talking about a competition trigger here, just a very nice general use trigger. And we're going to talk about these magazines here separately next in this video. And the controls are on both sides of this gun, left and right side. Up front, we have some M-LOK slots at 3, 6, and 9 for lights, lasers, foregrips, etc. Whatever you want to put on this gun, you've got 2 M-LOK slots there at 3, 6, and 9. And then up front, we have a muzzle device that is a muzzle brake. You have holes at 12 and then slots at 11 and 1. And the nice thing about the front of this muzzle device is it is flat spotted. It is octagonal, kinda, maybe hexagonal. It just has flat spots on it that make it easy to take it off and expose those 1/2 by 28 threads on the 6-inch barrel so that you can put a muzzle device on this gun. Whatever you want to add to it, well, it does come with a muzzle brake. I guess you wouldn't really need to add one of those, but if you want to put a can on it, it's very easy to do so. Up top, you've got a full-length Picatinny rail, and you also have flip-up iron sights that are adjustable for windage and elevation. However, when I'm using this red dot right here, it kind of gets in the way of these iron sights, but if I flip them down, there's a set of pistol sights built into them that are similar to the Hellcat and the Echelon. It's a U-notch rear sight and a white dot front sight. Here's our charging handle. It is non-reciprocating and it folds out of the way when it's not being used. You can also switch it from left to right side. And we have takedown pins. A takedown pin at the rear, pivot pin right here, comes apart like an AR-15 for cleaning. Once you hinge it open, you can slide this back plate off and remove the buffer recoil spring and the bolt from the gun. Now let's talk about this safety real quick. It is very easy to reach to flip on and off, but there is some force needed to do so. So it's a very, I guess, positive, tactile. You can feel it, you can hear it flipping on and off, and you can see it visually because you have that red and white safety markings on the side of the gun there. Also, right up top back here on the left and right side, there is a QD sling mount, so you can put something like a single point sling on this gun. But that is all the features of the Kuna PCC. So here is the magazine from the Kuna, and a lot of people are talking about this magazine because it is proprietary and not interchangeable with any other firearm. However, it is a very nicely made magazine. You've got the transparent plastic here so you can see how many rounds you have in the magazine. You have steel feed lips right here and a single takedown button on the bottom of the magazine. Now, a lot of people were disappointed that it didn't use Glock mags or CZ Evo mags, but I think one of the reasons they did that is so this would feed 40 Smith & Wesson as well as 9mm, because overseas this is available in 40 Smith & Wesson for military and police. Now let's talk about the CZ Evo magazine. Now the nice thing about these magazines is they are double stack, double feed, which is the superior way to feed a PCC. Both of these are translucent plastic, and if we look here, the Kuna mag has metal feed lips, and then of course we don't have those on the CZ Evo magazine. Now these magazines are pretty cheap. I remember you could get these for under 20 bucks. The Kuna magazine comes in at around $25 online. Might be a little higher, might be a little lower, especially as these get established out there on the market. But with the metal feed lips, it kind of reminds me of another PCC magazine, the MPX. Now you can see that is also translucent there. Has steel reinforced feed lips. However, this does have a steel mag catch hole right there, where the Kuna does not have a reinforced magazine catch area. However, MPX magazines, I remember these being about $60 a piece. I think there's a newer, less expensive MPX magazine, but these are generally the more expensive magazine. So the Kuna magazine coming in right there, middle of the pack compared to other 9mm PCCs. Let's try this trigger together, see how it feels. So we got a little bit of a take up there, and then it starts to go into the pull. There's the brake. We'll let the trigger out till we hit the reset. There's the reset. Nice tactile, audible reset. If we let the trigger fully out, we got about 1/8 of an inch to 1/4 of an inch of travel right there. And then we'll pull again. It's a pretty good feeling trigger for general use. It's not a match trigger by any definition, but it is a great general use trigger. With these being double stack, double feed, they're really easy to load. You can load them much like you load an AR-15 magazine just by pushing the rounds in from the top. You don't have to worry about loading them like you would a pistol magazine. So very easy to load. Now what I have here is 10 rounds of 9mm, two different types of 9mm. On top, I have one 15 grain Blazer for 5 rounds, and then the last 5 rounds are 124 grain arms core. And for comparison's sake, I have the same loaded into the MP5 magazine. What we're gonna do, since they're roller delayed, we're gonna start with the MP5, and then we're gonna take our first shots out of the Kuna and see how it feels compared to the MP5. So let's go ahead, give it that HK slap. All right, so there was 10 rounds. Didn't really notice a difference in the 115s and the 124 grains. And now we have the Kuna. The magazine goes in there fairly easily and it locks in there securely. Let's go ahead, we'll hit that bolt release and let's try those first 5 115s. Okay, so I don't know if that was 4 or 5, but they were really soft recoiling. However, not as soft as the MP5. I'd say that still wins in the recoil feeling. However, I think the Kuna is just a little bit lighter than the MP5 is, so that lightweight might feel like a little bit more recoil. Let's finish this magazine out and try those 124 grains. All right, there it was. Just a tiny bit more recoil, but this gun shoots really smoothly, and I like how it shoots. I got some grind hard 115 grain, just some remanufactured stuff I've had for a while. All right, fed that fine. And what we have right here is some S&B 115 grain. Yeah, that's fun. The really heavy 150 grain, and this is a flat nose bullet, so we'll see if it feeds it or not. Oh yeah, no problem there with that 150 grain Syntech. Let's try some hollow points next. I got 5 rounds of Arms Core jacketed hollow point. Now we're trying the Federal HST 124 grain plus P defensive loading. This stuff's pretty hot loaded. All right, but it fed fine through the Kuna. So watch the ejection on the Kuna here. It throws the brass about 3 to 4 feet away. It doesn't eject them halfway across the range. Here we are at around 20 yards. We're going to be doing some 5-round groups. See what kind of accuracy we can get out of Kuna here. And we've got 5 rounds of Blazer 9mm. Five rounds of Federal Red Box Champion, 115 grain. Let's see if the point of impact changes much with the suppressor on here. We've got the same Blazer 115 grain. And the Federal Red Box 115 grain. Oh, pulled the last one, but it has a pretty good group down there. Hey, that group pretty good. Let's shoot 5 more rounds at the same target. Now this is Arms Core 124 grain. And even with that 124 grain, the little Kuna here, the recoil is really smooth. For hollow point accuracy, we got 5 rounds of Arms Core. Pulled that one. Well, I pulled one, but the rest of them, pretty good group. All right, I did find an issue with the gun, and it's in these magazines. So when the magazine is full, it's not really a problem. But if the magazine doesn't have a full load of ammo in it, even one short of 30 rounds, a good bump to the bottom of the magazine can cause rounds to pop out of the magazine. If you think I'm hitting it really hard with that, well, you can see just a jolt to the bottom of the magazine will cause the rounds to pop out of the magazine. However, with a full magazine, I can hit it like that and the rounds do not come out. So anything less than 30 rounds, I'll take one round out of there right now. A good jolt to the magazine will cause the rounds to pop out of it. So that is one of the issues that I have found with this gun. We saw that rounds can pop out of a magazine that is not fully loaded. We've got 10 rounds in this magazine here and 30 rounds in this magazine here to use as kind of a hammer. I'm going to put it in the gun and see if we can get a round to pop out into the receiver of the gun, which would cause a malfunction. All right, I didn't hear any come out, and none of them look like they have moved position at all in the partially loaded magazine here. So I don't think it's going to be a problem with the magazines in the gun, only when the magazines are outside of the gun. In this magazine, I have 10 rounds, 5 rounds of 115 grain UMC, and 5 rounds of the Syntech 150 grain. One more time, supersonic and subsonic. All right, so it sounded really good with those subsonic rounds. And another thing that I didn't touch on this gun, the magwell right here. It's a huge magwell, super easy to get those magazines in to reload the Kuna. It just guides those magazines right into the gun and makes the reloads super fast. And the MP5 again, 10 rounds once again, supersonic first, subsonics second. All right, and now just the direct blowback CZ Scorpion. I know there's not a rear sight on here. I had to borrow the optic off it for another gun. Same ammo loading, 5 rounds supersonic, 5 rounds of subsonic. All right, we're gonna shoot the Kuna on the timer, on the steel plate, see how fast we can shoot this little PCC. So let's go ahead and try it. .88 on the timer again. .07. Let's try that again. .04. .92. .89. I had one round on target. The other ones were just slightly off target. But if you're a better shooter, you can shoot this gun really fast, keep them all on target there. Let's take a look at some slow motion footage comparing the Kuna to the MP5 and the CZ Scorpion. So first up, we have the MP5. It is the heaviest of the bunch. It weighs a little bit over 7 pounds as you see it configured here. And I think that weight is really in its favor on top of its roller delayed blowback system. Next up, we have the Kuna. It's lighter than the MP5, but still shoots really, really smooth. Next up, we have the CZ Scorpion Evo 3. Now this is just a direct blowback gun, and because it is direct blowback without a delay system, it has the harshest and the sharpest recoil out of all three for a 9mm PCC. And now, here they are, all three together. There it is, everybody, the Springfield Kuna. It turned out to be a really nice little gun, and I'm glad that we added one to our collection. I've got a lot of pistol caliber carbines, and there's a lot of them that this just beat shootability wise. And you saw it here in the video. We've put about 300 rounds through this gun in making this video. We shot it suppressed, and I was really happy with how quiet this gun was. We shot it for the reliability with different types of ammunition, and it didn't care who made the 9mm, what the bullet grain weight was, or what type of bullet was loaded into it. Full metal jacket, hollow point, flat nose, it didn't care. It just ate it all up and asked for more. Now, we did have one little issue with the magazines. When they were partially loaded, you could pop a round out of the magazine by giving it a good enough jolt. But when it was loaded into the gun, it didn't matter. And when the magazine was fully loaded, it didn't matter. So if you do toss partially loaded Kuna mags into your range bag, well, when you get home or get to the range, they might not be loaded with as many rounds as you had in them originally. I think the Kuna is on par with the MP5. When I originally shot the MP5 and this back-to-back, I thought the MP5 was smoother shooting, but I thought about it some more, and the more I shot the Kuna, I realized that the extra weight that the MP5 has really helps soak up just a little bit more recoil, but it also does add to the weight of the gun, whereas the Kuna is nice and lightweight. Now, I would say that the Kuna is the best PCC on the market for under $990. And $990, that's kind of weird. Why don't you say $999? Well, because you can get an MP5 clone for $999. And if you're up in that price range, well, you're going to have to decide which one is great for you. Now, the MP5 has that pedigree of a long service life, and it also has that nostalgia for 80s and 90s action movies. But with that long service life comes a design that was designed back in the 1960s versus the Kuna here, which has all the modern features and everything you'd expect on a gun designed within the last 5 years. So do you want that nostalgic throwback, or do you want the most modern 9mm PCC that you can get? They're on par shootability wise with each other. If you want to know more about the Kuna, you can check it out at Springfield Armory's website, which is springfieldarmory.com. And everybody, if you've made it this far, I really appreciate you watching to the end of the video. This has been another WV Guns and Goats video. And as always, remember, if you're not out there having fun shooting, what are you doing?